morning and welcome. My name's Sam and this is the Little Greenhouse Creates, and thank you for joining us today, and thank you for joining me for this lovely funky fold card that we're going to create. Now the DSP that you can see here at the back, the designer series paper, is one of the free gifts you will receive, or you could choose, if you spend £45 or more at the moment with our mini catalogue. So let me show you how this card works. So you simply untie the ribbon, okay, and then the card opens like so and then reveals the inside. So when the recipient has it, it will stand on its base like this, and then it folds up quite nicely and fits in a 5 by 5 inch greetings envelope. So today, as this is the adult version, I thought we would make the child's version. Let's just tie that up. There we go. So I'm going to use the Party Puffins. These little animals are having a great party for a birthday, and I'm going to use the patterned party paper from the main catalogue. So let me get the supplies so you can see what we need. So the first thing I have is a piece of cardstock. Now this is Blushing Bride and it measures 8 by 8 inches. I also have 3 pieces of Blushing Bride that measure 3 by 3 as well. Okay, then with my designer series paper I have 4 pieces in total. Each one is measuring 3 3/4 by 3 3/4, like so. I then have a piece of white cardstock which is at the back of the card here for people to write their greetings, and then again this is 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 square. I then have 3 pieces of white cardstock that measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and then we have 1 piece of cardstock which is for the greeting, which measures, which measures 1 inch by 2 3/4. And then last but by no means least, we have a piece of ribbon that measures 18 inches long. Okay, so the first thing we actually need to do is we need to work on our main piece of card base. So move these out of the way. So the first thing we have here is, as I say, this piece of 8 by 8. We're going to bring in our scoring tool, she says, which is just put out of reach. So let me lean across. Okay, so there we go. So there is our piece of cardstock, and that measures, as I said, 8 by 8. And we're going to score it at the 4 inch line all the way down. We're then going to turn it 90 degrees and do exactly the same, 4 inches and straight down. So now we have 4 boxes in our card. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to score in the top left hand corner. We need to score diagonally straight down. Now you've got 2 options. You can use a ruler and score straight down, or again you can bring in your score tool. Now I'm actually going to make sure that my score is all the way down. So if you look, this is the 6 inch line. So if I put the point there and then make sure the point is there. So now I can score from there right to the centre of my card, like so. Okay, now of course you can do that on your trimmer as well, should you wish to. Okay, so now what we need to do is, taking a pair of sharp scissors, we're going to cut a line all the way up to the middle here. So take my scissors and I'm going to cut all the way up to the top. So we now have this flap. Once we've done that, we can now do all our burnishing of our score lines. So I'm going to fold this one here and then burnish like so, and then going to turn this one over and burnish. Of course you could burnish before you cut if you prefer. And then the reason I've done it this way is so that I can actually burnish diagonally like so. Okay, and what's going to happen is this is now, so it was in the top right, sorry, top left, we're now going to turn it round so it is in the bottom right. And what happens is this flap here comes behind this flap here to create the square. Okay, so let me just show you that again. So we've got the diagonal in the bottom right hand corner. The top left square is going to go behind the top right hand square, like so, and that will create our card. So what I'm going to do is going to fold this over. I'm going to draw a line down there and a line on here, so that I know that those two are the ones we're going to glue. And what we're going to do now is we're going to put 2 of our 4 3/4 by 3/4, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4 DSP. They're going to go on there like so. Right, it's going to work like that, and I'm going to attach those with my stamp and seal. She says, come on, there we go, all the way down. I think I might be running out of this. Let's see if I can get these on quickly. Oh, that one is going go like so, and then that one's going to go at the top there. Oh, come on. Not quite sure why this one's playing up. Probably thinking to itself, I've run out, I've done too much crafting. Right, and let's see which way around I would like it to go. Yeah, I want it to run the same way as that way, so that will now sit within there. Okay, like so. Now, I'm going to put that one behind. I'm going to push this fold up, and then I now know that this is going to be the front of the card, which is where the third piece will layer. Before I do that, I just want to make sure I burnish that quite well. Okay, so we can now place our third piece on there. And again, we're going to use this disobedient stamp and seal. Definitely think I'm running out of this, but I do like to make sure I get every ounce. So again, making sure that the lines run from top left to bottom right. Okay, so that is the front. So what we need to do now is we take our ribbon and we're going to wrap it round our card. Okay, and I'm just going to create the bow that's going to go on here to hold it closed. Okay, that's one. And poke that through. And then I'm just going to tighten that. Make sure I'm happy with its positioning. Okay, because I actually want to make sure it is actually on the side rather than actually sitting on the card. So once I'm happy with that in the position, I'm going to take my white piece and I'm going to layer that over the top, and that will help to keep the ribbon in place. And on this occasion I'm going to use the multi-purpose, and I'm just going to run it all the way down the card like so. I do apologise if you can hear the humming of a grass cutter in the background. There's obviously some work going on in the distance. It's just a little bit louder than I'd anticipated. Okay, so once you're happy that that is firmly in place, you can turn your card over and we can start with our middle section. So we've got one of these, which is the 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that will sit on there, but we will glue that down with dimensionals. Now I've actually pre-cut a number 8 out of the Blushing Bride. I've added a little bit of the dimensionals so that it stands out, and I can just poke these through. I felt that as we had done a 40th birthday card, we could probably get away with doing an 8th birthday card. Didn't actually mean to take the backing off just yet, so I'm just going to see if I can get that back on quite quickly. There we go. Then I'm going to bring in my piece of white cardstock, and that will sit onto there. So originally what I'm going to do is have the 8 up here. Now I'm going to use the candles and the cake from the stamp set up to here, and then I've got the happy birthday down at the bottom. So let's do that now. And I'm going to stamp it in the Memento black ink. So let's just tap. Yep, looks fine. So that will sit there, like so. Then I've got the happy birthday, and that will pop onto there. Excellent. Now I'm just going to do a little bit of colouring in on the birthday cake, and instead of using my blend pens, I'm actually using my Stampin' Right markers, because this is quite a tiny little picture, so I don't really need those big brushes at the end. So I'm going to use the bumblebee to colour in my flames. I had to think there. There we go. Then I'm going to use the Blushing Bride for the icing on the cake. Of course, I could have used a crumb cake or something, or I could have used the icing goes around the base of the cake, and then leaving the icing that's dropping down to be white. Okay, so there's the cake, and then the plate I'm using with the Calypso Coral. I'm just going to colour that round. Perfect. As you can see, these Stampin' Right markers are ideal for just colouring in simple little pictures. I'm going to take the number 8 now, re-unstick it, and then that will put that there, like so. Okay, so we've got 8th birthday. I felt that as we had done the 40th birthday for the adult, we could get away with doing an 8th birthday for a little person. Okay, so that's going to attach with glue. Okay. Pop that onto the front. And then I'm going to attach dimensionals to the top and the bottom of here, and I will use my big ones, which are just over here, out of reach as usual. Okay, so I'm going to do one at the bottom, 2 at the bottom and 2 at the top. By doing this, once we place it over the ribbon, it will actually stop the ribbon from falling off the card on the front. Okay. So we can bring that in, and that now hovers over there. So let's take the backings off. And that will come down. Just make sure I'm happy with it. Yep, and then I can place it. So that is the front of our card. So I can now undo the ribbon, and we can work on the inside. So the first thing we obviously need to do is to glue this to this. I'm just going to run that across there. like so, and we can bring that up and attach. Okay, firmly squeeze it into place. Okay, so the next thing to do is to put our DSP on here, but before we can do that we need to actually slice it diagonally. So I shall bring in my trimmer. Oops. And I need my top left hand corner at the top and my bottom right hand corner at the bottom, and then I'm just going to slice straight through like so. So we now can add our glue to this one, and it can be placed into the middle. Oops. Let's try and get that straight, it does help. There we go. So that's that one done. Okay, and then we can do exactly the same with the other one, which will go into there. So again, a bit more glue. I'm just going to slide that in. And there we go. Okay, as you can see, so now when it closes we don't have to crease the DSP. Okay, so we now have two pieces of this card case left. One will go here like that, and then the other one will go on the opposite corner, and I'm going to, or I was going to, stamp out two little penguins from the Party Puffins, which I've already done just to save a bit of time. And as you can see, we've got a dancing one here with a little fish, and then I've got one with his party hat on. So I'm going to attach those with the glue. Now obviously you don't need to attach squares, because as of the adult version that I showed you earlier, they were just flowers attached rather than actual squares. But I think it's quite nice to have the some sort of picture in those top two squares. Okay, so there are our two penguins, which we now can attach to our card. So I'm going to put this one here. Okay, so again I'm going to attach it with a bit of glue. Turn it over. Excuse me. There we go, there's that one. And then we can add the other one to this side. Okay, so I'm going to add another bit of glue. There we go. Oh, excuse me. Tickle in the old throat. I'm just going to turn this round, because what I'm going to try and do is make it as level with the one that we have already positioned. I'm just doing it by eye. Okay, so both my penguins are now in place. They are so cute, aren't they? Sorry, puffins, not penguins, puffins. Okay, so the last thing but to do now is to have the sentiment happy birthday. So I've got my 1 inch by 2 3/4. Bring in my happy birthday. And then I can pop it onto there, like so. Now when we come to putting this on, we only want the dimensionals to be on the right hand side or the left hand side, because we've got our crease here. Bring that up so you see. So what I want to do is, if I put my dimensionals here, I don't want it sticking to the left hand side, otherwise the card can't close. So turning it over, I know I need to put the dimensionals here. So let's grab those. I've got one there and one there. You can take those off, and then that can sit there, and as you can see it opens and then the sentiment closes as well. And then there is our corner pop-up card. Let's close that with a bow. There, perfect. That's our 8-year-old and that's our 40-year-old version. So thank you ever so much for joining me this morning. I hope you liked those cards. They are great fun to make, and once you've cut out all the pieces, quite simply easy to make and create. So hopefully we will be back on Thursday. Technology, fingers crossed, working. And whatever you do for the rest of the day, enjoy crafting, stay safe, and lots of love. Bye.